All right, welcome to the Muscle Maturity Podcast, episode number 76. We are here with Samir Bannout, 1983 Mr. Olympia, Marcus Guerrero from Old School Labs, and I am John Hansen. And how are you guys doing? Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th to you
Appreciate
guys.
that.
Celebrating in the hot weather today. We're going to have about 100 degrees in LA, but it's always exciting to celebrate. You know, we had a big fire here in Porter Ranch yesterday, and hopefully it won't happen again because of all the fireworks and stuff. So,
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. Are you celebrating tonight, Marcus? What's up?
No, I think we just might. Me and my girl might get some walking in, and get some secondhand fireworks from some neighbors or something. That's really
enjoy the scenery.
How about
How about you, John, in
plan?
Florida?
No, not really. Not really checking out the fireworks or anything.
It's always good to. Usually we
I
go
feel it.
up in Malibu near Pepperdine. You have a very good view.
Oh,
of
yeah.
everything
That's beautiful out there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. But now the kids are growing up. We
You
don't
ever
do
seen the
it
fireworks on
same
the beach in Florida, John?
What's that, Marcus?
You ever watch like the fireworks at the beach in Florida? Because I remember when I was younger, I used to do it all the time. And it's
Oh, really? Which beach?
leaving the beach. Like Fort Lauderdale, things like that. Like
Okay.
beaches around, like maybe Pompano Beach. Fort Lauderdale had like some decent fireworks when I was younger, like down South Florida.
I mean, it's celebrating everywhere. The whole every place in America is celebrating tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been a
So
couple
what's
weeks,
up?
guys, since we did the show, so we missed a couple of the big contests, the pro contests. There's been some shows going over in Europe. So let's talk about those first. And then we got a show coming up this weekend called the Mr. Big, which will be on the 7th, which will be Sunday. So we'll do a little preview of that too. And then I think we got some questions from readers. So, not readers, from the podcast watchers. We got some questions, so we'll answer some questions at the end of the show. All right, so let's talk about the Empro first. And this was the return of William Bonac. William hasn't competed, I think, about a year. So he made the return to the stage, and he looked really, really good. And he beat out Beiruz. What's Beiruz's last name? Do you guys know?
It's like Tabani.
Tabani, yeah. Beiruz Tabani, who's got a fantastic physique. And Beiruz, I believe, qualified for the Olympia last year, but he couldn't make it because of visa issues, unfortunately.
Oh my God!
So, anyways, Beiruz came.
He's not going to be able to come to the Olympia.
Probably not. I would.
Well, I mean, they're giving Hadi Chopin a visa. I think they should be able to give him a visa just based on Hadi is getting a visa. So why not? Let's hope they give it.
I don't know. He's had issues last couple of years. And then Crizzo was in this show, Samir, your boy Crizzo. He came back and he only took third.
I don't know what to do with Crizzo, man. He's embarrassing me every time, John. And I'm not betting with you on Crizzo ever again. I have my reason. It's been like 2 years. He already cost me about $50 of sushi. Come on. He needs to perform. I mean, look, Crizzo have an airplane that doesn't know how to fly it, unfortunately. I'm not putting him down, but he needs to really make an effort to make a changes in this area, John. I mean, we all know this sport is performing art. If you don't show what you have properly, you're more likely to suffer. And, his condition is not bad, but obviously, other than not tanning his face, but so he came in third place.
Yeah, when I saw the pictures and video, he was third. I was disappointed because I didn't think he looked as good as last year. In fact, I don't think he's made any improvements at all. But now I hear that he's got a shoulder injury, so he's going to be taking the rest of the year off. So that's probably why he didn't look as good, because he probably wasn't able to train like he normally would.
I mean, looking at this photo, Sean,
forward.
Marcus, looking at the photo, I mean, the guy's outstanding. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's the judges don't like him. But I mean, in some poses, he looks really good. For some reason, right now, I'm looking at this double bicep, John. You could see the rib cage is gaining size in the rib cage, and the waistline is slightly wider than usual. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
anything to do with not
I
being
noticed
flat.
that
You
too.
notice that?
His waistline is yeah, his
Yeah, I
waistline is
mean,
definitely bigger than.
yeah, as far as I'm
Good.
concerned, I have to say congratulations to William Bonac. He came in, he proved himself as a true champion. I love his quality. But man, they all have to watch about Beirut because I love his physique. I think Beirut. I say again his last name, Beirut
Tabani,
what? Chabani Kabani.
Beruz
He's
Tabani.
yeah. I think he's incredible. I think we need to watch for this guy, and he has got a promising body, and he can be right in the winner circle in the Olympia if he continues to do his job
Yeah.
right.
So
But
do you
Bonac,
think you think Bonac should have beat Beirut? I heard it was really really close, and I heard a lot of people say it could have went either way.
well, it could gone either way, but then again, Bonac has more seniority. He's been around. He's getting older. Some of the judges will say, you know what? But not to say he didn't deserve it. I mean, it could have gone either way, depending on what the judges like here. Uh,
Yeah.
Muscularity, quality. Uh, he showed his body fairly good. I think Behruz, he need, as I'm saying it right, Behruz, he
Mm-hmm.
needs to show his body. He needs to be a little more relaxed. He keep bending his knee, flexing his legs the wrong way. And you could notice right now, what? Why is that move? Why is this move? He does it from the back. He keep like showing, look at my glute, look at my glute. See, this kind of move for me personally is lack of professionalism. The body is unbelievable. The potential is beyond good. And honestly, I think he's one of those guys that's gonna be like he's gonna go all the way if he does it the right way. If he does things,
Scott, you got any pictures of Beirut and Bonac together?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull some of those up.
Do you think it'd almost be like how sometimes in basketball, like at the free throw line, you kind of have your routine. You might dribble twice. So do you think anything that they do is kind of like just that mental, almost like the obsession of it, like it's like a compulsion to where like, okay, I'm going to touch here and then go
Yeah.
into it.
it's a
Yeah,
bad
he's
habit,
practicing his
Marcus.
posing, and he's
Marcus,
practicing his posing, and that's what he does. He gets into the pose by bending the knees or whatever. But I mean, it doesn't look professional when you get on stage. So
no, it
um,
doesn't.
you should
It's
just
really
it
easy.
should look effortless when you get up there.
It's easy to flex your legs without making all these repetitive moves that
Right.
actually it looks very amateurish. It doesn't look pleasing to me. So he needs to be more professional and stop focusing on his glute. We know your glute is cut. All you got to do, hit a back double bicep from the back. The glute is showing. The judge is going to see that. But always making it, grabbing his glute. Look at that. The legs going down. And it's like he's a kindergarten poser. It's not a professional poser. We need to work on that. But I do love his body. That's wrong. That positioning like that
Yeah.
is absolutely wrong. And his coach should tell him, don't do that. See, nice body, beautiful body. Yep. Okay, see how he squat with his legs again? I never once did
So,
that in my
Samir,
life.
what'd you think of Bonac coming back? How'd you think he looked compared to how he looked before?
Honestly, I'm impressed. I honestly never expected or predicted that he can pull it off because I know he's already over 40, right? Somewhere around over 40. I
Yeah, I
don't know
think he's
exactly.
42.
Yeah, I mean, look at his hamstring glutes. And really, I'm happy for him. He really did an amazing job. And if I was there, I would be undecided between him and Beirut. But I probably would have gave it to Bonac based on a guy who made a comeback, and he's got the lion heart of making that great comeback. because I know Behruz is going to come back and kick ass because he's got unbelievable genetic. So,
What do you think, Marcus, of Bonac?
Yeah, to me, I'm a fan of Bonac, super fan. I think it reminded me a lot of make another analogy, boxing. Whenever it was Pacquiao, I'm a big fan of Pacquiao, and he fought Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman was like the new up and comer, one of the younger guys, really good, and of course Pacquiao was kind of holding his throne per se. And I feel like that's what this was to me. This was Bonac coming back, facing one of the younger crop of the new era of bodybuilders, and he held his own. That muscle density, it really stole the show for me, and I was very happy to see the package. I think this is as good as he looked at the Arnold Classic a few years back. I think, if not even better. Like, this was an incredible package, just a muscle. I thought this was almost a no-brainer. I understand why it was close, but I mean, he looked, to me, at his best. So I was very happy to see him fight off the new crop.
I don't think he's at his best, but I think he looks damn good. He looks damn good. I've seen him full. Have you seen him?
Think he can make top 5 or top 6 at the Olympia? You think he can make top 6 at the Olympia? Do you hear me, Samir?
In that condition, possible. In that condition, he could be in the top 6. But again, maybe on the lower
waist a little wider to you?
Top 6. No, we're talking about Bonac, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, the quality that he brought to the stage is very respectable, and he doesn't look like bloated in his tummy, which is something that always impressed me. I don't like to see wide middle, so he did a good job. And look at that.
No, I didn't mean stomach distension. I just meant, like, does it look just like a little wider? Maybe because he's getting older a little bit.
It doesn't look wide here for me when you're doing a double biceps, but again, as you get older, we tend to grow a little bit in the middle somehow.
I feel like it's also the lats from the front. The lats from the front, I don't feel like are flaring out as much. Maybe they still looked amazing from the back, but like maybe from the front, that might not be helping the overall midsection look. Yeah, because usually his lats are a little bit more, protruding from the front shots.
I've seen him bigger, a little bit bigger, and just as hard, if not a bit harder. But to make that come back and to showing the world that, hey, I'm over 40 and look at me. I'm like, he's cut. I don't see any place that looks soft or smooth. He's cut everywhere. Back, hamstring, glute. It's honestly, I'm happy for him. And Behruz is tremendous. Maybe he lost by a hair because Behruz has that pretty body.
When he's in that back shot, the way that leg looks, like the from the glute down, is incredible to me.
He's definitely the density and the thickness, no doubt about it. That's his strong point for sure.
Yeah, all the way down to the calf, just that right there. What we're seeing, that is just superb to me from the glute down. Superb.
Yeah, good comeback for sure.
Question.
All right, let's talk about the Flex Pro, which was in Italy. That was last weekend. Behruz was first place, and Nathan DeAsha, I believe this was his first time competing this year, I think. He was in second place. So Behruz did get the qualification for the Olympia now because he won this contest, and Nathan's still trying to get his qualification. But neither one of these guys can seem to make it to the Olympia anyways because they can never get to the United States because of visa issues. So they probably won't be able to make it anyways. We got any pictures from that, Scott, from the Italy Flex Pro? Here we go. Yeah, so Behruz won this contest. So everyone who thought he should have won the other one, he did win this one. So that he is headed to the Olympia, hopefully.
I hope he'll be able to get his visa together. But I think based on, seeing Hadi Chopin now flying to the United States was no problem. They're not a problem for the country to come here. They're good people. They're athletes. And I think based on that, You can't have double standard. His countryman came here and proved himself. He won the Olympia, and he was like one of the most popular guy at the Olympia. Could have won it twice. So, he's entitled. I mean, we have to be fair. Even whoever the U.S. consulate should take that into consideration. If this guy, is worthy of being on the Mr. Olympia stage, like Hadi Chopin, he came here, very nice. He doesn't violate. He's a good, like any good citizen, and he won the Olympia. So why not give Behruz what he deserved? He worked so hard, and let's hope people think like I do out there at the U.S. consulate. Fantastic bodybuilder, really fantastic. Look at that V shape. Look at that.
Here's some shots of
Jean, just look in the middle right here. Like the torso on DeAsha is long, but if you look at the lat and the sweep that he had with the middle, I think I did something similar. And that helped me win, having the fleur, lat, and small hip. I mean, I could easily vote for him here based on the structure that he has. I mean, DeAsha looks good.
I agree with you.
DeAsha looks good. I mean, that's why we respect and love Frank Zane, because Frank Zane have the line and the beauty, and that's why he's Mr. Olympia 3 times. That's why Frank beating guys like Roddy.
Yeah, DeAsha's
mentor.
DeAsha's long torso always threw me off. He's got such a long torso. I think when he does that, any upper body pose, it's like it just kind of throws me off.
The only guy have a torso like that is Mike Matarazzo. Remember Mike Matarazzo?
Yeah, he had.
And Mike used to have a torso that long too. So,
and the guys with the long torsos and short legs like that, they always have trouble doing a front lat spread. They never look good.
If you look at Behruz right here, his legs are not standing out, and I think there's some mistake also in his prep right here, because I think he depleted way too far, and this is a mistake some of the coaches continue to do by over depleting.
He looks flatter here.
He looks flatter. Obviously,
right.
He's not popping as much. Why? Because he lost more than he need to. Some of the intracellular fluid was dropped, and that's why his legs in this position is not standing out like DeAsha. So, but the body is amazing. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think he looks flat too. I mean, 2 shows in a row, I think it was probably too much. And you're right, they probably didn't fill him out enough. In fact, DeAsha looks way fuller there.
I don't think, John, he is. Hold on, excuse me 1 second. Let me get here a little bit better here. I don't think the 2 show back-to-back is what hurt him. I think the dehydration part in bodybuilding is very critical. It's a fine line.
Yeah.
You lose water from the muscle cell, you're going to end up with a flat tire. The muscle is not going to be bouncy and boom. Okay, so there is some technicality issue here with peaking. That's from my perspective. I wasn't there, but that's what the picture's telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those adjustments are simple to make. And
Nathan is definitely fuller and bigger, and he was in good shape. He was really hard. So.
No, yeah, I think
from the side shots, whose legs do y'all like better from the side? Like, if we're only looking at the legs from like the side shots, I'm just curious because I hear, like, I know y'all saying from the front, but like from those side shots, whose legs do y'all prefer?
Well, Behruz has got those crazy glutes that go halfway down his thigh, and they're shredded, so that looks pretty freaky.
Behruz is shredded, but we have seen him looking even a little bit fuller and the same quality. So it has to be some issue with overly dehydrated. And so, let's say he got a little bit overboard in dropping fluid. And it's taken away some of his overall size too, because just looking at him, I can see that. I mean, after all these years in this field, I'm fully aware why this and that happening. Yeah, it's unbelievable condition.
I think this guy
And
could definitely be a threat for top
yeah,
6 or
DeAsha as
7 at the
well.
Olympia, don't you? Beirut.
Yeah, I was
100%.
gonna say something about that as far as like, because you know how a while back we were talking about Martin Fitzwater, and because he had an incredible showing against Nick. So like,
Right.
it leads me to think like, who do you think would do better out of Beirut versus Martin, right? Because those were two people that we've discussed. Kind of, if they show up at Olympia, they can be, pushing
Yeah.
that top 6, even a 5th place maybe, but at the very least top 6. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
when I look at them two, I look at Baruz, and I'm more excited to, I'm anticipating him showing up at Olympia a tiny bit more than Martin, but they're neck and neck. So it's, like, I think that's a really good pairing right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Beirut has got a little bit more of a wow factor. I think he's got a little bit more thickness, where Martin's got a really nice, pleasing, symmetrical physique.
Yeah.
And he comes in good condition. But if Martin comes in a little bit bigger, he could maybe change that. But yeah, I agree with you, Marcus. I think Beirut would be a little bit more of a wow factor at the Olympia if he comes in and really, really, like if he comes in full and hard. He's always hard, like Samir said, but if he comes in really fuller and bigger, I think he could really shock some people. And he's never been in the Olympia before, I don't think. So that would be his first.
No, it hasn't. I guarantee you, John, he probably went home and ate. 2 days later, he probably looked like, oh my God. A day later.
Yeah,
I mean, a few hours later, when he had his food and drank, he would probably look twice as ripped and at least 7, 8 pounds, 5 pounds fuller. Like he keeps squatting.
Right.
That's not a good thing. He keeps squatting, showing his leg. Don't do that. And hunching down to show his hamstring, it's really unnecessary. He doesn't need to do that because the hamstring is ripped really good. Look at that. Going down and grabbing his butt also is not professional. As far as I'm
right.
All of these guys have a habit now. You see, grabbing the butt. Why do you need to grab your butt?
Right.
Why do you need to grab your butt?
Gotta make sure it's
you grab your hamstring and squat down. But also his butt getting overly developed. He needs to stop that. A little bit bigger butt is going to work against him, not helping him.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I almost gonna nickname him the Butt Man now.
Right.
I mean, what these guys are focusing on their glutes, for God's sake. Like Arnold said, stop being a girly man.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, it's a little bit too much, yeah. But I like his body. To be truthful, I like his body and I like his future potential. And I know he's gonna make the top 6 at the Olympia for sure. Hopefully.
Yeah, he definitely needs to work on his posing though. Posing is really amateurish.
100%, John.
All right, well let's talk about the show this weekend, that Mr. Big. So it'll be Nathan DeAsha versus William Bonac. Who are you guys predicting is going to come out ahead there? What do you think, Marcus?
That's going to be a tough one. That's a tough one. Honestly, because they both had amazing showings last. So, and the way I look at it, for Bonac to win, I think he has to come crisp. And to where if I was to put my money on anybody, it would be Bonac. But I mean, looking at how Nathan showed up at the last show, I mean, that's one of the. I think he looked incredible. The fullness was there. I think there was a little bit more to be desired in the back shots when it came to like the lower body, like the legs. But then again, he's going up against Beirut, who had just had impeccable conditioning.
DeAsha versus Bonac.
If I had to slide on a certain, yeah.
Are you saying, but DeAsha versus Bonac, John? Bonac. I would say
that's this weekend.
Yeah,
Bonac have the edge. His quality is a little bit more. He's more striated and he have more clarity. I mean, DeAsha is massive. It's pretty muscular. Look at that. Amazing. I don't know why. Sometimes some of those guys look better at the gym than they do on stage. It happened to me. I looked a couple of times. I looked way better at the gym than I did in the contest. So,
Was
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
would have to
if we
say,
compare how Beirut went up against Nathan, Beirut beat him with just, to me, Nathan had more size. He was fuller, and he still got beat out by Beirut Tabani. To where I feel like we're going to see somebody like a Bonac who is going to come in crisp and who or does come in crisp and has that density, has the fullness. So I feel like it's almost going to be double in favor of Bonac when you put those two into consideration, especially considering what Beirut just did to Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
What
I
do you think,
mean,
Samir? You think?
I think the mass wise, I've always said it. It's not always the mass. It's the class and the structure. All of that come into account. And so, it's hard for me. They haven't been on the stage together before, have they? I mean,
I don't
look,
know. Maybe I could.
DeAsha, he's got a wider shoulders, probably fuller overall. But I think his height is like his long torso. There's a lot of void area from here to here. It will have to
Yeah.
be. Well, I have to wait and see them next to each other. But I would say Bonac has the edge if he also improve on that quality that he had last week and the week before. So let's wait and see. You can see his like.
How about you,
He's got
John?
Yeah,
that
I agree.
24K
I think
quality.
Bonac got the,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bonac has more quality right now.
Plus, that was Bonac's first time on stage in over a year, so I think he'll be even better at this show. He should be because
Yeah,
after he got
yeah,
that first show out of the way, he should be. And then it wasn't like the next week either. He's got a couple of weeks in between, so
Yeah.
he should be able to peak pretty good for that.
And then he looked really
and
good at the guest posing too. That the pictures they're showing up now, he looked pretty good there as well at the guest posing.
When was the guest
I
posing
hope,
last week?
I believe so. Yeah, at the Conquer.
and he did it. He did it on his own right now, or he's being coached by someone. Oh, you don't know.
I don't know. It's not with Neil Hill. I know that.
Neil used to
I
coach
don't know who he's
him
with.
a few years back. I don't think they
Yeah.
have. They're working together.
No, they had a falling out. Yeah.
But he did very good on his own anyway. So I know what Neil does overall. I know what he does. He's pretty good. He knows what he's doing. So this is
Yeah.
it, man. He learned a lot from Neil, so he was able to put it together on his own. Remember what he used to do with Neil? Oh, live and learn. hmm So
All right. Well, that'll be this weekend, so we'll talk about that next week if we're on the show next week. All right, we got some questions from some of our fans here. Samir, one of them was for you because it was
yeah.
about Serge Nubret, and we know you trained with Serge Nubret back at Gold's Gym back in the day.
hmm
So Serge had a unique way of training. He trained really light weights, and he did hours and hours of workouts. And his diet was really crazy, right? Like really super low carbs. And so,
Yes.
how was he to train with, Samir? What was he like? What were those workouts like?
Oh, yeah. Serge does not go heavyweight. He just go with repetition, high reps. And I did the train for the best in the world, the one in Warrington, Pennsylvania, the George Snyder show. Remember?
Yeah, 79.
So that was 79. So we trained at Gold Gym at approximately about 2 months, and I started my prep
Okay.
fairly full. But I'm not a ketone kind of body. I firmly believe that when you train with weight, you got to have the carb. You can have the carb without
Yeah,
touching
me
the
too.
insulin. The carb is necessary. I don't care what anyone else says. If my mom and your mom or someone else's mom that doesn't lift weight, they can go on ketone diet. But anyone that lifts weight and doesn't apply the carbohydrate is not smart. You need carbohydrate to pump the muscle. We need the carbohydrate. And that's why some of those coaches, John, they brought insulin to the game. Why? Because they can fill up more glycogen, more sugar into the muscle, which is, in the long term,
Yeah.
is not the healthiest way. And I disagree with the use of insulin to do that. But yes, to answer your question regarding Serge, we trained for approximately 2 months, and we were dieting, eating together, and even Berto Fox came in later. He didn't train with us, but we would go eat together afterward. Uh, we did like maybe 25 sets of on the bench, for example, and not heavy, like 185, 225. Go, pump, 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 pump. And I got to the point where I was depleted as hell. I lost at least 10, 12 pounds of pure muscle, at least. But fortunately,
Wow.
I had the body to, Berto, Serge is a big eater, and Berto Fox would eat like 1.5, 2 pounds of T-bone steak in front of me. He eats a lot. For me, I'm not a big eater. So I suffer because my eating wasn't, my caloric intake was way too low considering I was on very low carb. And yes, I did it on the salad and meat. That's it. And the show came in and I was as flat as a pancake. I carved up one day, which is not enough. I still won the show, and I won the overall. Greg DeFaro was in the heavyweight class. I won the overall.
Yeah.
The thing is, days after the show, oh my God, it looked unbelievable. I put on 7, 8 pounds of reserve. I was so shredded and big. I didn't have the photo to prove it. But yeah, I think training with Serge is fun. But anytime you go on low carb diet, which is also Vince Gironda style, Vince Gironda will let you eat all the fat. I wasn't eating high amount of fat. Vince Gironda will tell you can eat bacon, drink cream. Like when Makkawy was with him, he would take in like 100 liver capsules a day and eating all the carb you want. Liver, beef, eggs. Like, for example, what's his name? Dave Johns, best MP, who's also one of the biggest guys. Dave Johns is bigger than Berto Fox. Bigger. And Dave told me he would have, believe it or not, 36 whole eggs a day. That was all his food. And he have some salad. That's basically how I did it. But on ketone diet, you gotta be a major eater. That didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. I look tired of gone.
You said you guys did 25 sets of bench presses, Samir?
At least.
Is that what you said?
Around that. Yeah, we did heavy, high set and high reps.
How many sets was he doing a body part?
Let's say we're doing bench. We do like 4 or 5 sets on the bench. We'll do 4 or 5 sets cable flies or cable crossover. We do 4 or 5 sets of dips. And the muscle is like completely working on empty. You don't get that crazy pump. I wasn't getting pumped, John. Honestly, I was losing muscle by the day. But then I got ripped, and that's what really helped me win. Huh?
How did it work for Serge Nubret? How did it work for him? How was he able to do it?
Well, I think Serge only died for 3 weeks. Anybody that thinks Serge Nubret died for a long time, he only died for 3 weeks, and he does something identical. But Serge would eat like 1,000 calories per meal or more, maybe 2,000. He'll just eat salad and protein with fat, but no carbs. No carb whatsoever. And his workout is long. Probably we train maybe, if we do chest and triceps, for example, it has to be at least over an hour and 15 minutes, which is usually I do in 20 minutes. You keep going.
But he trains real fast, right? Doesn't he train like with short rest period? Yeah.
Fast. Keep going, keep going. Like, I didn't like it. But when I trained with Mike and Casey, and it was like a short workout, heavy weight, shorter duration, and I have my carbs. I did my best when I was eating 750 grams of carbs. I was eating 750 grams of carbs prior to the 82 Olympia, and then I cut it right before the show. Carb is not the enemy if you eat the right carb. if you train with weight, with high intensity, you will have no problem eating carb. In fact, if you don't eat carbs, you're not gonna look good. You're not. So Serge gets fat kind of off season, and he died for 3 weeks. And yeah, he eats, like I said, lots of protein, and he probably dropped about, I don't know how much. He dropped at least 20 pounds in 3 weeks, but his muscles become clearer and more shredded.
Wow.
It works for him.
Yeah.
I mean, Serge used to be
Crazy.
etched to the bone, beyond shredded.
Oh yeah, he
And
was shredded.
when I went to Germany, for example, I was on high carb, and then I dropped the carb, the final part. And when I was kind of flat, I ate a little bit, and so it works better for me having at least 250 grams of carb. I don't think any bodybuilder should be eating
Yeah.
under 250 grams of carbs at any time. Carbs are your best
Okay.
friend. Carbs are anabolic, and you don't need insulin
Yeah.
for the carb to absorb. You don't need it.
Yeah, I agree. I've always been a high carb guy too.
Yeah, and so at the same time, it's a healthy way to do it, John. I mean, the
Yeah.
reason why bodybuilding
Well,
went
it
to
preserves
the
the
wrong,
muscle, right?
John, when bodybuilding changed and people start taking insulin and using Nutella and high amount of sugar, what happened? The first prep, they do that, they will look fine, but before you know it, the size of the visceral fat double, triple, quadruple. And this is what happened. And you
Yeah.
get that full tummy. And all ailment and sickness start in your stomach. And so that's why the new school, they're not healthy for that reason. So the Nutella diet
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
stopped. Should be stopped. The Nutella and the sugar stuff is stupid, honestly. I call it stupid. You want to die young? You do that. You want to live long and look good for the rest of your life? Eat some proper carb. The rice and potato will work just fine. And you
All
can
right.
eat 2 days of eating tons of carb while you're loading. Anyhow, so we're not going to talk about every little detail here. So, yeah.
We got another question about training. Somebody was asking about 21s. You know what 21s are when you do like a curl? So you basically do like 7 reps from the start to halfway up. And then on the 7th rep, you go all the way up, and then you do from all the way up, halfway down. That's another 7 reps. Then you go all the way down, then you do 7 full reps. So it's 21 reps. So they said, is there a more beneficial way to do a full extension of the barbell curl, or do the partials work? Have you ever tried those, Marcus? You ever tried 21s?
Yeah. I've been in the gym with people, especially younger. A lot of the younger crowd seem to do that. To where, I mean, I think it's good to you're doing more than what. So I think that same person would probably stop at 10 to 12 reps, and when they can do more, aka you should probably heighten the weight. But to me, what I see is more optimal would just be doing full range of motion for your biceps, go all the way down, keep the tension, and then you can take advantage of some partials at the bottom, getting as high as you can, a couple of at the end, but still keeping it where you're fully focusing on the bicep. I don't think this is going to be as helpful as going full range of motion. I think full range of motion is always smart, with keeping in some some quote cheats at the end, still keeping it full, just contraction, and getting some failure reps in.
Yeah.
Way more optimal.
What do you think, Samir?
Can I just answer really quickly? Stupid.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why?
Stupid.
Why is it 21? Why is not 25? Why is not 18? I mean, for me, I want to do the full range of motion. And when the muscle is fatigued, could be at 17, it could be at 24, and it could be at 14. The bottom line is okay if you're doing it with the right mechanic, and then you decide, John, if you decided to go from here to here with total focus, and then all the way down, or halfway up, and then halfway from down to bottom, it's okay to fatigue the muscle. But nobody should say 21 or 17. Or say, go by how you feel. Blitz the muscle, kill the muscle. That's it. If it falls down, if you gave up at 18 or at 23, that's fine. So, and also, Jean, I see many people while we at it, they're doing this movement. They go like that, John. They go like that. Why? Mm-hmm. I mean, Oliva and Arnold and Serge and Zane, they will go up and down slow and turn your wrist that you can get the brachialis on the way down. But welcome to the jungle. We have people doing this, trying to reinvent the wheel for us, right? It's annoying, but we need to talk about that. And, life is about experience, man. Life about experience. And we need to educate the kids. I mean, yeah, the muscle going to be activated. But what is this? It's completely wacky. I don't know.
Well,
but
I think that's a hammer. They're doing a modified version of hammer curl.
Live and let live, John. I tell you. But for me, I would go up and on the way down, change my wrist and hit the brachialis. If you want to build the proper way to bicep, we have enough biceps. So why this? You're not actually hitting your biceps, Like, anyway, it's like annoying. To me, it's annoying. Nobody should say 8 by 10 or 3 by 12. Whatever you fall down at 8, you finish at 8 or you finish at 16, that's okay with me. So I don't approve that 21 thing.
Yeah, I think oftentimes when we get numbers stuck in our head, we tend to sell ourselves shorter. So I agree with that as far as don't pick a number, because you can easily get past that number usually.
Thank you.
Marcus, are you far from the microphone? I can't hardly hear you.
Can you hear me?
Just sounds like you're pretty muted.
How about now? Is it still good now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
That's better.
Yeah, I was pretty much saying I feel like when you pick a number, usually you're selling yourself short. Usually you could have a lot more in the tank. You can do a little bit more. So yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Bravo. That's smart.
Next question is about maxing out. Did you ever max out on different lifts, or what was your heaviest weight you used on like squat, deadlift, or bench? Samir, you went pretty heavy back in the day.
I like to train heavy, but most of the time I go by how I feel. One day I came into the gym, I did something that I never done before, and I was like shocked. I could reach 405 on the bench for reps. My usual workout is a 225, 265, 275, 315, maybe reach 405. One day I came to the gym, I ended up doing 425, 18 reps. I'm like, what? How did that happen? A freak day, which is not my usual. But, I feel like training hard and heavy without trying to show off or showing off at all, this is the way to go. Deadlift, I have reached very respectable number for my height, for my weight. I mean, I probably would have done well in powerlifting because I started, Marcus, I was a weightlifter before I started bodybuilding. So, on the clean and jerk, I used to clean 405 standing, 408, 4 plates standing like that, because my lower back was my strength. So usually when you deadlift, and I was able to do the 745, 3 reps easily without strap, without anything. So if you're able to do 745, the 405 is going to fly up in the air like nothing. So yeah, I had a weightlifting background, and I really never went to the gym to try to show off or trying to do weight that I can't do properly. Hey, John, I was telling Marcus, one day I came to the gym and I wasn't even planning. My usual is 315, 365, maybe 405. But one day I came in I ended up doing 425, 18 reps. God is my witness on the soul of my mother and father.
Wow.
But you got to
That's
listen
great.
to your body. Bottom line, if you feel strong that day, just do it. If you feel strong, just do it. And so, yeah, I had some free days. But training heavy is the key, honestly. I think training heavy with control, motion, and feeling the muscle is the way to go. If you want
Yeah.
beef. And, who have the most beef in bodybuilding? Dorian Yates, Ron Coleman, and they did use heavyweight. Mike Mentor was pretty full too. Casey Vito, they have that bulk muscularity. So I really believe in heavyweight if you have it under control. You will grow even better.
Yeah.
But once you're
How about
big,
you?
John, then and you could go lighter and pump up, then it's okay.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
insane.
What about you,
745
Marcus?
for your deadlift is crazy. That's very
Yes, sir.
impressive.
I probably would have landed at 800 for sure, but I never really tried one time. Yeah. So that's my strength, my lower back. So
Right.
how about you, Marcus?
How
Now
about you,
at your
John?
age,
Yeah.
what have you done,
Nothing.
Marcus?
I don't even want to
Tell me.
follow up with that one. I haven't done anything like that. I mean, I can do 315 on bench for 5 reps.
Very good.
I don't squat at
That's
all.
very.
I don't squat just because my knee. I've had 3 surgeries, so I leg
Oh
press a whole
yeah,
lot of weight. But
from basketball, from rebounding.
yeah. So I just yeah. Come back to haunt me. So yeah, people ask me a lot. I actually have decent legs, honestly, and people come up to me in the gym and ask me
Mhm.
how much do I squat, and I'm like nothing. I don't squat. I will never squat
Well, if you
again.
would, if you didn't have that injury, I'm sure you would have done more. But when you do
Yeah.
315 for 5 reps, come on, you got to tap yourself on the shoulder. That's pretty respectable weight.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just check. That's what I'm benching. I could bench like that, like 315 for 5 for benching. Uh, Deadlifting, I'm 500. So that's it. And it's not no
You did.
745, but I mean I'm so natural
Yeah.
lifting getting there.
I
But yeah, I
can,
really try to do the controlled. How about you,
John.
John? I'm curious to
Ask
your
you.
numbers.
Yeah, I wanna hear about what John, some crazy lift, because I know he loved to train back too, heavy.
Yeah.
So John,
I never did like a max. I never did 1 rep, but I was pretty strong
mm,
on back. I could do, I was doing like 315, 335 for like 6 reps on the bent over rows. Um, Deadlifts I would always do at the end of my workout. I never did them at the beginning. I always did them I always just did 3 sets at the end. Usually I do like 225, 315, 405. But I was training with
mm-hmm.
this younger guy once, and we were going up to 5 for 5 plates. Um, yeah, squatting. I've done 5 plates a couple times. I do that like 6 reps.
That's very
Um,
good.
yeah,
And you're clean, John. The thing is, you not on the sauce, and you're doing that kind of way. That's very
right.
respectable. I mean, during
Yeah,
my contest, during my Olympia prep, I know Gaspari and Haney were training next to me, and then I'm doing bent over row, and really my back is my strongest part, and it was never to show off. I know for sure I can do bent over row with 500. I did 465 for 12 reps, and I was so focused to the point where I got Joe Gold pissed off at me at time. I go in the corner by the wall and smash the fucking wall in my forehead so hard that even Joe Gold said, he said, "Who's that?" I would come to the lift. I grabbed the barbell off the bench, and really the 465 was like, honest to God, I swear on my mother, on the soul of my mother and dad, 12 reps, like no problem at all, in strict form. So that's my gift is
wow,
my back was my strength, yeah. And so yeah,
yeah,
in Michigan, when I trained in Michigan, John, at Powerhouse, the Powerhouse gym at what do we call it at um, in Detroit, Michigan, basically Highland Park, Michigan. I trained next to Will
Highland Park. Yeah,
Dabish. Yeah, Will Dabish. Norman was there. We had this guy, a Lebanese guy who won the Mr. Michigan the year before me. His name Bob Saad. And so there was the atmosphere. Some of the guys would want to act like, yeah, I'm strong, but the atmosphere was insane. I did 585 or 575, somewhere around that, 5 reps all the way down. My butt touched my heel. And so, is that necessary? No. But, it was just crazy atmosphere. And then, when you're young, you think you're invincible. You're crazy and you'll go for it. I won't try. I won't do 225 right now. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I won't do it. My bench press, I will do 185 for 20 reps. I don't do more. That's it. I'm like high reps guy. I'm back to what Serge Nubret used to do. And what's funny, I just read something. Frank Zane had said something earlier today. He said, as you get older, you have to train less frequently. So you train every 2 days or every 3 days, and you train intense in short duration, and you allow the body recovery. You don't have to go crazy, but your body doesn't recuperate as quicker as you get older. So you know what I said?
Yeah, that's true.
When I read it, I said Frank Zane hit it right on the nail. It's true. I train and I get sore for like 2 days. Yeah, in fact, my chest is sore right now from doing 185, for God's sake. What's 185 compared to 425 for 18 reps? I do 185 right now. I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like I'm way too much.
All right.
So go by how you feel. Enjoy it.
Hey, John, did you always do deadlifts at the end of your back routine, like your workouts, always?
Yeah, except for one time, like I said, I was training with this guy who was younger than me. He was a natural bodybuilder too. He was real strong, and he wanted to do them first. And I actually ended up hurting my back doing that because we were going up to 5 plates for 3 reps, and I pulled a ligament in my back, and it really screwed me up for that whole year. But yeah, I always looked at deadlifts as like a lower back exercise, but I mean, I'm not a power lifter, so I would just use it in a bodybuilding routine. And I looked at it like I wanted to build up the spinal erectors along the middle of your back. So I figured it would make sense to do it at the end because when my lats are all pumped up, then I have less chance for injury because I'm all pumped, and then I can feel it more in the middle of the spinal erectors. And then I never went heavy. I would do I'd warm up with 225 for 10, and then I go 315 for 8. And then I go 405 for 6. And that was it. I never went heavier than that. Never pushed it. But now I see it's totally different now in the gym. I see everybody's going super heavy on deadlifts, super heavy, like they're power lifters. So I don't know. I never looked at it like that. I always thought of it in a bodybuilding sense. I always looked at it as you do it for 6 to 10 reps and you do it at the end. You don't do it. It's not a main exercise for me. I think it's just, I know it's a good mass builder because it uses your back, your legs, your hips. But as far as back development, I don't think deadlifts are better than barbell rows or T-bar rows or chins. I mean, that's what's going to really develop your back, your lats. Deadlifts just hit your lower back, really,
I hurt myself the first time. I went to the gym one time, Jean, and my brother-in-law was Olympic lifting champion back in Lebanon. So they had 225. I tried to lift that weight, 225. Guess what? I messed up my back badly. I was only 16 years old, and I did it the wrong way. Did you see? Live and learn.
Yeah.
And before you know it, my back was my strongest body part, and thank God I never hurt my back training. Live and learn.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we got one more question. It says, "Are you guys still in touch with?" Or he says, "Are you still in touch with guys like Bob Paris or Mohamed Makkawy, who ended up with a bit bitter towards bodybuilding?" I have that other podcast, Bodybuilding Legends, and I interview old-time bodybuilders. And I reached out to both Bob and Mohamed. Bob never even answered, I don't think. And then Mohamed told me, he goes, "I'm not talking about bodybuilding at all," which I thought was really weird because that guy was such a great champion. Wow. And he's still involved in the sport because I think he's coaching people. I think he lives in Canada still, and I know he's coaching people, and he looks amazing, Samir. I mean, I don't know how old he is. I think he's older than you, right? Wasn't Mohamed a little bit older than you?
Mohamed at least 4 years older than me, 4 or 5 years.
I mean,
And
he's still got a good physique. He's still got a lot of muscle. He's still pretty thick. So I don't know why
you
he
know,
wouldn't want to talk about bodybuilding. But have you talked to these guys recently, Samir? Like Mohamed or
I,
Bob?
I talked to Bob. I was actually watching my son playing basketball at a game about a year ago, and then my phone
Uh
rang,
huh.
and it was from Dubai. And Mohammed was in Dubai, was one of the guy that actually likes me and Mohammed, so he wanted to connect us. So I took the phone and I walked out. I
Oh,
was
okay.
talking to Mohammed. Yeah, I mean, then we ended up talking. I couldn't talk to him for too long because there was a game going on. But I talked to Mohammed. I think Mohammed is not happy what he see. Mohammed is one of the real artists when it comes to bodybuilding. Not
Oh,
too many
yeah.
people
One of
know,
the
but
best ever.
Mohammed is highly educated, very intelligent, and he is really a masterful poser. I mean, guys like Mohamed Makkawy bring respect to the sport. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
know a lot of great Egyptian champion right now. From Hassan is from Egypt. Uh, you know, Big Rami from Egypt. But I think when you see a guy like Makkawy, he's so educated and so classy. Uh, he just kind of showed displeasure to me. He said, "What the fuck is going on?" Muhammad goes, "It's a jungle." Same thing with Roy Callender. I'm in touch with Roy,
Hmm.
and Roy is one of the people that impressed me. These guys are true hardcore. I haven't talked to Bob Paris. I saw Bob Paris about 5, 6 years ago in Vegas. Just gave him a big hug. There was a lot of people, and then I didn't hear from him. But his best friend Matt Bettetti, who was actually his training partner, we talk every now and then. I don't think Bob is interested in
Okay.
competitive bodybuilding. I don't think he appreciates what's going on in the sport of bodybuilding right now. He doesn't
No, I don't think
appreciate
either one of them do.
this direction that bodybuilding is taken is becoming excessively true about chemical. I mean,
Yeah,
let's not be a
yeah.
hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite, and I did a podcast not long ago, and I was asked about. I use not even 1/10% of what these guys using today, John. And right now, everything is
Yeah.
drugs. If you want to scratch your butt, you have to take some drugs for it. What the hell is that? What's wrong with that? I mean, this is not the way bodybuilding. That wasn't like Bill Pearl style. It wasn't Arnold style. It wasn't Gironda style. So I was surrounded by sane, who rely on training, intelligent nutrition. Right now, 10
Yeah.
IUGH, 4 or 5 times of insulin a day with over 1,000 grams of carbs, eating 6, 7 meals or maybe more a day. This is not bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's destructive, and the body is coming out looking not as pretty. Besides,
Yeah.
after a year or 2 or 3, and their career is over, these guys start running into health issue. So this is the bodybuilding that I don't
Yeah.
approve of. I don't like what I see, honestly, John.
Yeah. I had so much respect for Mohammed and Bob, but I mean, Mohammed was like 5'2", probably 150, 160 pounds. He's taking second to Mr. Olympia. He's winning pro shows, beating Lee Haney. I mean, unbelievable, man. Just incredible bodybuilder. And he is, like you said, Samir, his posing, one of the best posers in the history of the sport,
For
always.
sure.
He used that classical
For sure.
music and the transitions, and it was just true art. I mean, that's what bodybuilding posing is supposed to be. And there's nobody that poses even half as good as Muhammad anymore, you know?
I totally agree. And that's why I keep like talking about guys like Beirut or Crizo. You guys, you build this great body. You need to apply the art of bodybuilding. You need to show the hard work, the development. And believe me, they think they know. And I not honestly think they're horrible. They are horrible. They need to learn how to show it. They would be remembered forever. People won't
Yeah,
stop talking
that's
about
true.
Makkawy. Guys like Beirut, like keep going like this with his leg, with his glute. I mean, the learning, whoever teaches people how to do this, they're not from within. I'm sorry.
Right,
They
right.
they need to actually fix that. I'm
And Lee
Makkawy was
Labrada learned Lee Labrada was inspired when he was posing from Makkawy. So without Makkawy, Lee Labrada wouldn't have been as good of a poser as he was, you know?
When Lee Labrada and I were hanging out together in Houston, we did some posing together. And when he came into Southern California, Lee is smart enough to realize with the body he have, if he don't apply the art of bodybuilding, he wouldn't make it. He's smart.
Right.
He went
That's true.
worked with Frank Zane. Lee know how to rhyme, how to make his body flows. And this is why Labrada also is in the top of the cream of the crop in posing. He learned how to walk before he start running. These guys are not doing it properly. They think they're posing. You're not posing. You're not showing what you could do. You're only utilizing 5% of your potential. Imagine guys like Chris or Behruz be able to improve 50, 60%. They will do so much better. I wish they would listen.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And Bob Paris, I mean, you know, Bob Paris competed 40 years ago. He won the Nationals in 1983. That's over 40 years ago. And people still know him. People still remember his physique. They still remember his name. And you know, Bob Paris never won one pro show. Never won one pro contest.
Wow. You know, people.
He's far more remembered than all those guys that did win pro shows, you know?
Listen, early on, people don't know this. Bob was associated with Roy Liedlmeyer. Roy Liedlmeyer had the artist mentality. You know, he was around a photographer by name Joe Valdez. I don't know if you remember Joe Valdez.
Yeah.
And so Roy Liedlmeyer, whose name doesn't really come up much, but this man has a body that's incredible, beautiful. He's eloquent. He knows how to pose and how to make transition. He did help Bob and Matt a lot. And Bob Paris, that's why it was that classical. He know how to show it. Too bad that Bob didn't go all the way because he just once he split up with Matt, he went with this guy, his name Rod, and Rod wasn't really his best for Bob. And that's why Bob didn't go all the way. And I love Bob's body. I love his style of posing. Bob was incredible. He just never made it he never took it to his full potential, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think the reason he didn't was he didn't want to do all those drugs. You know, I think that's why he dropped out.
So I got a question for
listen.
Pardon me. I got a question for y'all too. So because I know there's a big disconnect with the old school, what we're talking about compared to what's going on now, but just in only you. So John, questions for you, and then Samir for you as well. So what's y'all's biggest disconnect with why you guys feel the least proud or happy about where the sport or where bodybuilding is going now compared? You know what I'm saying? Just you, not as an overall, just simply your opinion.
Our opinion?
Yeah, if this is why John doesn't like where it is now compared. You know what I mean? So rather it's the drugs or it's just the posing, but the most, polarizing reason of why you don't, it's not the same to you. Is it, is it the posing, the lack of, that classic, the artistry?
Yeah. You want to go first, Samir?
Well, I have a good reason to dislike some of the things that's going on because I know in my heart that whatever is being done right now can be done in a better way as far as you don't need the abuse. You don't use certain things that actually work the opposite way. And these kids they are listening to the wrong people. You can get big. You could be Mr. Olympia. You could be Mr. Any Grand Prix show. If you do things properly, you don't need to abuse. The amount of drugs being used is a no-no. It's unacceptable. Nobody should be taking 1,000 milligrams of testosterone. Nobody, not even Godzilla. Nobody should be using more than maybe 150 milligrams of Trambolone, let's say, for a short period of time. It's a toxic drug. Nobody's telling them that. Why? Because the coaches, they want the athlete to win. You're not doing your athlete a favor by telling them to do this and win at all costs. And their health is ruined. And honestly, on top of that, there are drugs that's not necessary. It's just making the body get bigger and not prettier, bigger. We're not saying some of the drugs don't work. They work, but what about your engine? What about your liver? What about your future? You want to win championship and live to enjoy life. You don't want to die when you're 40. You don't want to die when you're 45. You should be able to go over 80 and 90. You can. And you can accomplish all of the above without having to destroy your health. And we need to bring this awareness. And that's why I don't like what I see now. I mean, I'm for live and let live, but I do my best to represent the sport in a helpful way. That's my intention.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I would also say, the aesthetic part of bodybuilding, I think, is going away. Maybe it's still being practiced in classic, but it just seems like with bodybuilding, it's just who can be the biggest and then the hardest. And the problem with that is bodybuilding is an art. And when you start adding too much muscle to a frame, you start to lose the aesthetics. And there's no certain cutoff. It's not like you can only go up to this weight, and then after that it's over. It's just you got to look like an artist looks at his sculpture or his painting and see what looks good. And a bodybuilder has to have an eye for what looks good and what doesn't look good. And when they go over that because they think they just got to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, they overflow their structure with too much muscle and it just doesn't look good. It just, if you take an average person who looks at a bodybuilder and they go, oh, it just doesn't look good. They don't know why it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. But then you look at someone like Steve Reeves, Frank Zane, Bob Paris, and just the way their muscle is on their frame, how it flows, how it's aesthetic. You go, wow, that looks good. And these are people who don't know anything about bodybuilding, don't know anything about the specifics, but you could just tell what looks good and what doesn't. I remember I got these old magazines, and one of the magazines, Arnold said, this is when Arnold was competing. He said, my best weight for competition is 235. Now he's 6'2", 235. There's guys 5'6", way more than that now in competition. Yeah. But he said, I could get bigger than that. But he goes, if I go over that, then I'm going to lose my aesthetic quality of my physique. So Arnold was smart enough to know that, size was important, and he was the biggest guy back then in his era, except for maybe Lou Ferrigno. But he knew that if he went over that, he would lose the aesthetic quality. So that's what we're totally – and then the posing is just a travesty now compared to what it used to be. They don't put any effort into posing. Yeah. They don't put – look at the Beirut, how he has to get himself right before every pose. I mean, that's amateurish. You should be – if you're a professional, you should pose like a professional. And, these guys just have lost the art of bodybuilding. It's not just about mass. It's an art too.
John, between you and I, we have about 90 years or so of experience, okay? That's enough. 90 effing years, if not more. I've been in this game over 50 years, and I'm sure you're probably right around that too. The thing is, we have no reason to lie to people. We are trying to be more caring. We want to help the sport. And I mean, that's why I keep saying, Derek is an incredible bodybuilder. And I honestly don't see, you just said Arnold at his best, 6'2". He was 6'2", tall. And at his best was 235. And honestly, I won't take my eyes off of Arnold at his best. Now, when Derek is not even 5'5.5", weighing 255 or 260 or maybe more, why does Derek need to be on the stage at 250? Why? To me, his job as building the house is unbelievable, and he's really blessed. He does not need to be more than 230 pounds on stage, compared to Arnold, 235 at 6'2". That's still it's like Arnold competing at 260. So these are things we say, not out of hatred. We say it out of concern and out of love. When someone like Derek was so blessed with great genetic, he need to really rewind, replay, and start thinking. Because, I know he's not doing anything unhealthy. I know he's not doing things drastic, because I know who's on board with. I know Hani Ramboyd isn't doing anything dangerous. I know that, and I know he cares. But from my perspective, I don't think it's necessary. A couple days ago, a week ago, I did a podcast with someone, and then I said, some people are getting mad at me. I said, Chris Bumstead is not blessed with an incredible genetic. I mean, look, Frank Zane wasn't blessed with incredible genetic, but that he is one of the greatest ever. I think Bumstead, what he did with his body is nothing short of amazing. He deserved everything he did, and I think he's rational, and he did a wonderful job. We try to say things we don't do it in a derogatory way, but those keyboard warrior, they turn around and say, oh, look what Samir's saying. No. Nothing disrespectful about Chris Bumstead. Nothing disrespectful about Derek. We just say, give it our opinion in a positive way without being disrespectful toward these gentlemen, That's it, man. What's your final word, John, on that?
Yeah, I think Derek's doing what he's doing what he needs to do to win. Derek's doing what he feels like he needs to do to win because that's the new judging standard. And if you look at the bodybuilders from Frank Zane's era, Arnold, Bob Paris, those judges had different standards. They judged more aesthetics and mass and posing. And now the new judges are judges that came up during the last 10 years. They don't know about those guys. They didn't see those physiques back then. They didn't so they're not judging it like they judged then. They're judging the way they do it now, which is mass and hardness, and it's not as much aesthetics. It's not as much. Let
me add something to that, John, and let those experts agree or disagree with what I'm saying. When Derek Lunsford come to the stage at 230 or 225, sliced to the bone, he's going to be the biggest, and he's going to be the most outstanding. And guess what? He's going to win hands down. I am sure what I'm saying. 230, 225, right. Sliced to ribbon, posing with mastery, he'll be unbeatable. So he don't need to be 245, 250. Why? Same thing to Hunter Labrada. I'll say the same thing. Hunter need to work on super striated, shredded body and listen to his pop a little bit more and bring in more beauty, and I guarantee you he'll do a lot better.
Right.
I don't think these guys are listening to the people that cares.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up there, and wish everybody a happy 4th of July, and we will be back next week for the Muscle Maturity Podcast. All right, guys.
Good.
Take it easy.
Take care, everybody.
I'll be with you. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy your 4th.